Hello. Today I'm going to take a break from talking about the set in their ways older crowd and speak on our youngsters, the people who need the most attention, the people who need the most. You know what? Give me a second. The people who need guidance the most, and I'm gonna talk about television and how it affects children and why I believe children shouldn't watch TV at all. Um, I believe that a child shouldn't watch TV until at least they're a teenager, um, if at all, ever in life. I mean, of course, at one point a child's gonna get curious and they're gonna find a way to watch the television. But in your house, this is some of the reasons why I don't believe children should watch TV. Television molds perceptions and ideologies, and you know, I believe that once you're put onto the television world, it's a form of hypnosis to kind of keep you in a box while you're watching a box, and of course, it's exactly what it does. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about how I'm going to start off with consumerism and beauty and the message that it sends to children. Now, we're going to start with consumerism. Consumerism affects, is embedded into children when they watch television because, of course, even if you're a parent who closely guards what your child watches, now, 90% of the time, if you're a parent and you allow your child to watch TV, you're allowing your child to watch Disney Channel, you're allowing them to watch Nick Jr., Nick at Night at times, and Family Network because they promote the family environment and the television shows, and and PBS maybe, educational stuff. PBS was what I believe had Barney and Between the Lions and Zaboomafoo and Zoom and Sesame Street, a big one. Studies show, first off, I want to just go ahead and say studies show, and you could look this up on Google if you'd like. Studies show, facts show, that these educational shows do not affect the way your child, well, it affects the way your child learns, but it doesn't affect what your child learns. Your child will not learn how to count if Count Dracula is fucking singing 1 through 10, all the child is going to do is memorize what you just said. So so you could have said that, the number system goes 1 2 A 4 7 6 5 Z zeta 10, and you could tell a child that that's how you count to 10. The child is not going to fucking know what you're talking about. All he's going to know is that it has a catchy tune, and he's going to say 1 A 2 7 B C, that, so that's not learning, that's memorizing. A lab rat can memorize, but a lab rat cannot learn math. You feel what I'm saying? So that's one thing to understand when you put your children in front of the box. You actually, when doctors come on pushing those, drugs that are terrible for your system, and they, tell you shit like your child has ADD, and first of all, it's fucking made up. There's no such thing as ADD. There's no such thing. And if they do have that shit, it's your fault for letting them watch TV growing up, because it shortens the attention span. It shortens it. It makes it harder for them to concentrate or learn in, say, just reading a book, because they're so used to the flashing advertisements. And of course, kids fucking suck that shit up. You could put anything in a show. That's why Disney uses so much subliminal messaging and advertisement that it's ridiculous. And another thing, when you let your child watch, I was supposed to be talking about consumerism. When you let your child watch Disney and all this shit, even though you control what your child watches, you don't control the commercials that come on. Your TV doesn't automatically turn off or some shit when the commercial comes on. So when your child is watching Barney or Transformers, if your child's watching Transformers, that show was purposely made for the sale of toys, action figures, dolls, board games. That show was made to be on a Christmas list. So if your child's watching Transformers, the action and the robotics and that shit's cool. That's a cool ass show. And a commercial comes on, get your action figures, each piece sold separately. You know, your child knows how to make you feel like. I mean, even in these commercials, they have instructionals on how to ask your parents. Like, they'll go and, say, Mom, can I have this? No. Mom, please? No. And then your child gets sad, and he's like, but I do everything you ask. And then, how could you turn that shit down? How could you? If you see a child's face when, they're disappointed, it's the saddest thing in the world. So, of course, you're going to go ahead and you're going to get you're going to get the toy, and then they're going to be like, yay. And then automatically, as soon as that happens, your child's like, yeah, if I want something, I'm going to get it. Even if I don't need it, I'm going to get it. And they don't have that, kind of way to decipher what's a want and what's a need. So everything is a need to a child. So your daughter's gonna say, oh, but I need the brush, or I need the dress that comes with the Barbie. Please get it for me. I'll do anything. And even that's dangerous when your child says, I'll do anything, to get that or whatever. Because that does translate into to adulthood when you see women who do anything to get money, and it's sad. It's sad spoiling your children unknowingly, and a lot of parents are surprised when their child comes out pretty shitty. Sorry, I don't mean to advertise. Now, with the messages that these shows give, a lot of the Disney shows are pretty sexualized and princess and glamorized and I get what I want type of thing. Or you know what? I think that one's obvious. The messages that they put in these shows, they give you what's cool and what's not, and they kind of mold how you grow when you believe. I mean, it leads it on later in the life when you see ads that show lifestyles like Gap. What is a Gap girl or a Gilly Hicks girl, or things that attach meanings to these clothes or to these toys. They kind of spring this lifestyle on you, like I'm the coolest if I have the Superman action figure because he's the coolest, like that. Beauty comes into play. Beauty is this is the biggest one of all. Man, these kids go to school, and of course if you see the slender white girl with the long straight hair growing up, what's beautiful? She's on TV, I'm not. You feel what I'm saying? It wasn't until recently that I started seeing the black girl in the show, or the black boy, or the black people in general. It just wasn't happening, especially in the 90s and the 80s. That shit was not happening. Unless it was one of those shows that show moral outcasting and shit like that, until they got into the Degrassi scene, things of that nature. And as far as messages go, I'm gonna make a part 2 because I believe that the way people, or just people in general, perceive black people has been forced on you through the hypnotism tube, aka the television, in numerous ways. I'll go into the shows like Real Housewives of DC versus Atlanta, or The Boondocks versus The Simpsons, or Everyone Hates Chris versus Dawson's Creek. It's shit like that people don't often make the connection to. All they see is, oh, they make a connection to me personally, and that's all I need to know. But if you're a deep thinker looking in, or you're the average person with a college, high school degree, then this is the shit that you look at. But when you're letting your child watch the television and this is what they're seeing, I mean, and then we wonder what's socially accepted and what's not. So I'm gonna follow this up with a part 2. Tell me what you think. I'll be back shortly.